Dear judges of the International Court of Justice, my name is Debbie Schutz, and I am from the Marshall Islands with ties to Kiribati and the Federated States of Micronesia. I speak to you today to pass on my message and urge the ICJ to hold polluters accountable and to help protect our Pacific region. Our livelihoods depend on it. Growing up on a low-lying atoll such as the Marshall Islands in the face of the climate crisis is a peek into the insecure and unstable future that my generation will inherit, that youth across the world will soon inherit. I remember as a kid, growing up watching the waves slam over the rocky seawalls and flood the streets we drove on. I remember feeling so much fear, seeing the roads battered again and again, littered with shards of coral debris from the ocean. This has now become such a normal part of our lives that people actually rush to get home before the high tide hour to avoid salt water being splashed onto their vehicles. These issues create much insecurity amongst us youth who stand unsure of whether there will be an island left for us to serve when completing our studies, or whether we can even raise families and have kids that will be able to live and grow up in their homeland. There's nowhere to hide from climate change in the Marshall Islands. Sea level rise continues to gnaw away at our shores, like walls closing in on you from all sides. Irregular weather patterns and droughts affect our agriculture and subsistence living, where harvests of staple foods like breadfruit don't properly ripen or are overly ripened and unfit for consumption. In the rural islands, multiple households will live off of one breadfruit tree, leaving many rural communities in periods of hunger and rationing. We experience shortages of suitable quality pandanus leaves and coconut fronds that our communities use to weave traditional handicrafts. These range from traditional clothing for cultural ceremonies, mats for resting and storytelling, home decorations, accessories, and so forth. These handicrafts are not only a source of income for locals, they're also a means of preserving culture. Marshallese weavers are known for their skillful handiwork, and these negative impacts on our natural resources threaten the passing down of these practices to future generations. Livelihoods and traditional ways of living are at risk of being lost. And while island life in the face of these climate issues seem like a lost cause, the youngest of our citizens express in utter defiance, "I want to stay here, even if it means swimming in my own home." This is one of many testimonies collected from teenagers in the Marshall Islands. Our identities are so deeply intertwined with the land that without it, we have no identity. The young people of the Marshall Islands want to stay because it is our home, where generations of family members are buried, where land is culturally passed down as a birthright. And without it, we strip future generations of their birthright and of a place that they can call home. The Marshall Islands has been one of the biggest leaders in the fight against the climate crisis, from championing the 1.5-degree threshold, working tirelessly against fossil fuel lobbyists at every COP, and pushing forward innovative adaptation pathways to ensure our survival, such as temporary internal relocation to elevate our islands and rebuild our communities. We are not limited by the size of our islands, but by our unshakable spirit, our strength and resilience to fight for our islands and our people despite all odds. And we will continue to fight. We stand ready to do everything it'll take to ensure our home's longevity and the preservation of our cultures and people. And we need your help. As a daughter of the Pacific, as a member of the youth of this world who grapples with so much insecurity about our future, judges of the ICJ, I implore you to recognize the significant action that needs to be taken now for the survival of not just the Pacific, but for the world as a whole. Will you hear my call?